This is a sports presentation from Sky Box Office Live.
Now, a World Wrestling Federation extravaganza from the NEC Birmingham for one night only.
It's my life in the box in front of me. Taking talk in my arms is the soul of me. You walk by, ask to see me laying face down. Your hands on the door, and you're high.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Warrant Attitude. This is the 46th edition. I am your host, Brent Piles, and with me, as always, is my co-host, who is from across the ocean and from the future. He is the barroom brawling, disco dancing, dynamite stretching, intercontinental playboy. Folks, he's more over than one night only at G. Russell Night. Glenn Abbott. Glenn, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
That's good to hear. Always good to hear.
Get some sleep after the sleepless nights I've had lately, watching cricket and all sorts of nonsense.
Well, Glenn, I got up about 5:30 this morning because as of yesterday, I had watched all of 5 minutes of the show. So I got up this morning so that I could actually watch it because I figured I'd sound like an idiot if I talked about it and didn't watch it. So much like you, I didn't get a lot of sleep, but I never really. You and me are kind of the same. If I get 5 or 6 hours of sleep, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really all I need. That's really all I need. But Glenn, we didn't come alone this week, did we?
No, we certainly didn't.
We certainly did not. We have got a guest with us. Since this was the first, correct me if I'm wrong, Glenn, but this was the first ever pay-per-view aired WWF event in England, in the UK, correct?
Oh, what you mean aired live?
Yeah, because they had them where they would come within your sports package. Like if you had Sky Sports, it would come to your sports package. But this one was the first one they actually put on like a pay-per-view where you had to buy it. It didn't just come along with your cable subscription.
I don't know about 92 SummerSlam, whether that was part of the cable subscription or whether they had to buy it. Because I was there, so it didn't.
You didn't have to watch it at home.
About it.
Maybe the person that we have coming in will be able to answer that for us,
Yes,
but I'm pretty sure I don't think he was around for that anyway. So anyway, our guest today is another British gentleman. He is the one half of the UTT Unbooking the Territory podcast and the one half of the other podcast, the Doctor Who podcast with his co-host Cy, that you hear me sing the jingle every week. It's Mr. Dan Griffin. Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. I mildly shit myself with that intro. You just launched straight into it. Had my headphones turned up a little too high. I wish I'd have worn my brown pants, but no, all good. Really happy to be here. I was around for SummerSlam 92, but I was only 3 years old. So I was not paying for cable at that point.
You're not sure if you watched it on Sky Sports or on pay-per-view?
I've definitely watched it. It's the Bret Hart Bulldog match is my first memory of wrestling.
Right.
But fuck knows. I was going to try and do some live Googling, but you don't need me tapping my way through all this.
I don't know what that means, but so through all the research that I did, from everything that I saw, it was the first ever pay-per-view it was aired exclusively in Canada and the United Kingdom, because all the other pay-per-views from WWF up until this point had just been included with the normal Sky Sports subscription. So you would get that and you didn't have to order the pay-per-view. Because of that, this did not get a lot of buys. It only got around 20,000 buys. Because I'm sure a lot of people over there went like, why the fuck would I pay for them? I've been getting them with my cable subscription all these years. That's what I would think.
Exactly.
That'd definitely be the thought process in my part of the world. Us Northerners are notoriously stingy.
Well, even now I've been so, ingrained to, I get all the pay-per-views for my Peacock subscription that if you try to get me to buy an AEW pay-per-view for $60, I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that.
You lot get fucking fleeced over there. They really have your pants down for pay-per-views. We're paying, $19.99 and you guys are paying $60.
And I pay $14.99 because I subscribe to AEW Plus, so.
Well, you fucking bastards. If I ever really, really want to order an AEW pay-per-view, I never have. I'm going to get myself a fucking VPN and pretend that I'm in fucking Yorkshire or some shit.
Best way.
That's what I'm going to do. Oh, well, so anyway, this pay-per-view one night only took place on September 20th, 1997 in Birmingham, England at the NEC Arena, which had an 11,000 roughly capacity. Only aired pay-per-view exclusively in Canada and the United Kingdom. The NEC Arena is also now known as the Resorts World Arena, apparently, and it's inside the National Exhibit Center, which opened in 1976, and it is the largest exhibition venue in the UK. Dan, you ever been there?
I have, yes. I went to the British Motor Show there in about 2003 when I was just a teenage nerd, far too into cars.
Oh, everybody was when they were a teenage nerd, right?
Yeah.
Cars and
It was good
wrestling.
though.
I didn't bother asking Glenn because I already asked him and he told me he'd never been there. So it held this show, and then it held Raw, SmackDown, and an episode of Velocity in April of 2005. I assume they were all just shot the same week. If you feel so inclined to visit this arena, make sure you head there on March 1st. You can go to the Rick Astley concert. How on the scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to go to a Rick Astley concert, Glenn?
I told you the other day, not a single chance.
You're not into this, Glenn?
Never gonna give you up. No.
Oh, yeah. How could you not love that, Glenn? What do you mean?
Can't even hear it, thank God.
Oh, you can hear it?
No.
I could.
Oh,
Good. Dan could hear it. That's all that matters. What about you, Dan? Scale of 1 to 10. What's the likelihood of you going to a Rick Astley concert?
1 out of 10. It's not impossible, but highly unlikely.
Okay.
Because
I would like if
Birmingham's
he
a bit
was
of
in
a
my
trek.
town, if somebody gave me free tickets, I'd go, but I ain't paying.
No.
Yeah, definitely not. Or if you don't want to do that, you can also see the WWF Live, a live event coming up on April the 17th of this year. So just after WrestleMania, they'll be in town if you want to head up to the exhibition hall and check it out. This is my first viewing of this pay-per-view. You guys ever watched this one before, or are you in the same boat as me?
I don't remember it, but there's a good likelihood that I probably did watch it at the time.
I think this is my second or third time watching it, but I watched it when it first aired, and I think I've watched it for another podcast. But the fact I had to go back and watch it to get any form of memory of it, I think
Yeah.
says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, even if I had watched it before, I'd have to go back and rewatch. I mean, I watched all of the 2024 Royal Rumble, and I don't remember a thing that happened in the men's Royal Rumble besides Cody Rhodes winning it.
That's because you were drunk.
That's because I was drunk, but still. Too much of that peanut butter whiskey, god damn it.
I feel that.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. They show a really cool video package about the, they kind of recap the British Bulldog, and this is his homecoming, and they kind of talk about his career and his big match with Bret Hart in '92.
Yeah.
Really setting Davey up for a big disappointment at the end, aren't they?
I'm gonna say.
It's fucking ridiculous.
The whole thing would build him up to shit on him.
Oh, choice of words, Glenn. Choice
That
of
was
words with
yeah,
Vince involved.
considering everything. Yeah, that's a hell of a choice of words. So they get right into it. The first match is Hunter Hearst Helmsley battling Dude Love. Hunter and Mick Foley have had a feud going on through much of '97, but he hasn't had any matches with Dude Love that I can remember. So I think this is Hunter's first foray against Dude Love. Dude Love cuts a little promo here, and he sounds a little funny. So let's hear it.
Oh, baby, have mercy. I do say, Hunter, my dear chap. I fear that you and I are in for a bit of a row tonight, and maybe after the match, China and I can do a little bit of grooving. Oh, I do say it will be jolly good fun. I know, I'm missing 2 teeth. Actually, they're gone, but I don't miss them. Ho, 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 ho. Jolly good fun.
It's not the worst English accent I've ever heard.
No, it's not.
It ain't great.
It's not Dick Van, but it's not Dick Van Dyke bad, is it?
Very little is Dick Van Dyke bad.
Yeah, I mean, he would be better if I tried to do a British accent right now. He did a lot better than I would do. Is grooving a word that British people use a lot, or not really?
No,
Not since the 60s, maybe.
not yet.
I didn't
Also,
think
since Austin Powers.
not since Austin Powers, but since it was groovy, baby. My mother-in-law said groovy until the day she passed away. God rest her soul. Anyway, so Dan. What do you think of this match?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, Triple H and Foley are both a base level of decent. even at this point. And actually, with those two, I think they're sort of on and off rivalry throughout the Attitude Era goes a bit under the radar because when they're both on song, they create absolute magic. This was fine. Dude Love's not my favourite of Foley's characters. It's just the Charleston just confuses me every time he does it. I don't know why. I don't know why he does it. It was fine. The finish was really abrupt.
Yeah, it did really kind of come out of nowhere. And like Dude Love came in, like when he first came in and he was a tag team partner with Austin, he kind of had some steam, but I don't really like, you're like, if you're doing power rankings of all of Mick Foley's,
Gimmicks.
Characters or gimmicks, yeah, Dude Love's at the bottom for me. I would take just regular Mick Foley before I would take Dude Love. And so I think it's kind of like falling flat with the fans a little bit. I mean, he does get a little bit of a pop when he comes out, but not the kind of thing that you would expect. I think he gets more of a reaction when he's Mankind than when he's Dude Love.
But to be fair, he's still showing what a bloody good wrestler he is.
Yeah, he is. We're going to get a lot.
This wasn't a bad match. There was that part where Triple H, or Hunter as he is at this point, goes for a drop toe hold, and Mick just hops over the top of it. Why don't more people do that? They're falling flat on their face, just slip over it, just over the outstretched leg.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised by like Foley did a lot of like mat wrestling in this. He did a lot of submission holds, and that's not something that you see a lot out of him. So it was a little bit different of a feel for the match. And like Dan said, I think the best way to describe this match is fine. It wasn't anything over the top, but it also wasn't. It was better than most of the matches on this show, but that's not saying a lot either. So.
Yeah, there was classic sort of heel shenanigans as well, wasn't there? Making Mike Chioda look a complete dick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they did a spot where Triple H has got the abdominal stretch on and he keeps grabbing the rope, and eventually Mike Chioda catches him, kicks Triple H's arm off. Triple H gets mad, shoves the referee. Chioda shoves him back. Triple H will do this a lot over his careers with referees, and I think he might be one of the first guys I saw do it when I was a child. I know other people probably did it before, but I hadn't seen it. And I thought it was a really entertaining spot. It got a good pop from the crowd. I remember him doing a lot more with Earl Hebner than I ever remember doing it with Mike Chioda, but I thought it was a fun spot. Made more of Helmsley look like a chicken shit heel. Dude Love also got laid out on the outside by a big clothesline from China.
He ran into that, didn't he? Wow.
It was something, that's for sure. It was like getting hit by a car.
The only other thing I popped for, this got annoying as the night wore on, was Lawler trying to use English slang. But I did pop when he called somebody a pillock.
Yeah, yeah.
That's an old school in the British insult.
What's a pillock exactly?
Not a clue.
No.
I don't even know.
It's something you said, yeah.
It was a poshish term for idiot.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then he also said that Mick Foley Dude Love would be known as a Bert or a Bird, maybe. I'm not sure which one he said.
A Burke.
What's that mean?
Do you want to explain the full thing? Burke is short. Is actually, I believe, a Cockney rhyming slang for Berkeley Hunt.
Yeah.
So I won't drop the C bomb on the show.
If you think of a word beginning with C that rhymes with Berkeley Hunt.
Oh, yeah, it's that C word that you Brits like to throw around a lot, but we don't usually say here in America very often. Okay, I get it. I get it. Thank you. I needed that explained to me, and I'm really glad you guys got that taken care of. That's why I need 2 Brits on this show instead of just one. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it looks like Dude's gonna get the win. He hits the sweet chin music and the double arm DDT, but China puts Hunter's foot on.
I love that sweet chin music.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite finishing moves ever. Dan, if you're going out to the bar tonight, if you get into a bar fight, you hitting somebody with the sweet chin music?
No, I'm just going to wrap him up in a bear hug and fall to the floor and he's off like a tube of toothpaste.
That's a sound strategy in my book. That's what Otis should have done in the Royal Rumble. He'd have won the whole thing.
Just do the Road Dogg method. Just grab the bottom rope because ain't nobody picking up Otis.
Yeah, exactly. So then while Dude's talking to the referee, Hunter kind of sneaks behind him, and then when Dude turns around, he hits him with the pedigree, gets the win. a decent opening match.
Hmm.
And then they get into they're asking fans before the event who they think is going to win between Shawn Michaels and the Bulldog. They show two young lads who are kind of arguing back and forth about it. All the women that they asked picked Shawn Michaels. No surprise.
It's
there.
embarrassing.
Was
The
it?
90s were a time, weren't they?
Yeah, they
Fuck
were.
me. Oh, the absolute bastions of fashion.
And why we're talking about this bloody, it is no wonder that the poor old Americans think of us as all either being total wazzocks or all bowler-hatted twats. Because that is how the WWF portray us. And those two guys that were dressed up as beefeaters, God knows where they got them from.
In my notes, it just says those beef eaters can fuck off. At least it wasn't a red phone box.
These were almost as good as the 1992 SummerSlam video when they're opening up and that little kid goes, "The British Bulldog's going to win, whether he wants to or not." Like, why wouldn't he want to win? I don't understand. So, yes, the ladies love Shawn Michaels and British people are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, sums it up.
Oh, it's fine.
Speaking of weird things, Sunny makes her way down to the ring. Boy, was she over with the crowd, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit. I think was it Vince on commentary who said she could be a Spice Girl, and I'm sorry, Vince, but she's no Emma Bunsen.
Of course not. I think that was it was JR because it was JR because that's the only thing he knows about England is the Spice Girls.
Yep. I normally call her the eighth wolf sleazy when she comes out, but after this week with Jerry Lawler, Vince on commentary, she's not even in the top 10 of sleaze anymore.
No, she somehow worked her way out of the top 10 in this one, and that doesn't happen very often with her.
No.
If you know what I mean. She's here to be the special guest ring announcer. And this is a big match, guys. This is the one that everyone's been waiting for, clamoring for since they heard this pay-per-view was happening. We've got Leif Cassidy battling Tiger Ali Singh.
Don't you feel? Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually feel sorry for Al Snow.
Yeah. The crowd went mild for Al, but they went even milder for Tiger Ali Singh.
Yeah. But they gave Al Snow elsewhere was a really good wrestler. They have him in the WWF. They give him this stupid Leif Cassidy name and make him job out to everybody, including a guy that can't wrestle.
This was painful. The whole opening promo was painful. The best part about the opening promo was Tiger Jeet Singh talking, and I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And even the indigenous population that may well have been in that crowd at that show had trouble understanding what he was saying, judging by the reaction.
Or lack of.
Yeah. Tiger Ali, for some reason, says he gets on the mic, and first he says he is on a mission to keep all the kids around the world off of drugs. And you know why he's going to do this? Because he is the true Messiah. He said that. And with all the fan support, they are going to light the wrestling world on fire. I don't believe it.
Oh, no, specifically with his Canadian support. Fuck Britain.
Yeah,
Where he
yeah.
actually is.
He thought he was in Canada.
He probably didn't remember where he was. In fairness, he doesn't know. This match, to say that it was boring would be an understatement. This was the drizzling shits.
That's exactly what it was.
The best part about it was JR ripping on Vince for saying walking in his father's book instead of walking in his father's footsteps.
Oh, yeah.
That's how shit this match was. I was listening to the commentary.
I should have been too. It was at one point Leif Cassidy tries to pick Tiger Ali's thing up and put him on the top rope for like a superplex maneuver, and he just couldn't get him. It took them like 3 attempts before they were finally able to get him up there. My favorite part of the match was when it was over because Tiger Ali hit a top rope bulldog and he's the winner.
Did you see that weird running takedown that Tiger Ali Singh tried, and him and Leif Cassidy both had no idea what he was going for?
No.
So I'll just took the bump.
Yeah. Just
He's like,
right.
fall down.
I've got in my notes that this is more your guys' speed because it was absolute shit.
Yeah, it was not good. There's not really anything to talk about in it because it was terrible. I don't like this point of the show up until we get to like the last 3 matches feels very house show. You know what I'm saying? It's like house show shit that they would just throw out there for no reason. Sunny goes and she's hugging Vince and hugging the King. She takes JR's cowboy hat, puts it on. So that's something. The next match is another one to really get excited for. The new tag team champions, the Headbangers, will be defending their championships against what is told to me to be the number 1 contenders. I'm not sure how the fuck they got to be the number 1 contenders because I've never seen them win a match.
Nope.
It's Miguel Perez and Savio Vega. Glenn, how much did you love this?
I have sympathy for the Headbangers here. We said it when they first came in, where we got fed up with Davey Boy and Owen against Ferguson, LaFon every week. And the Headbangers came in and we said, we've finally got a decent tag team coming in. Now they put the title on them. Who do they give them as their first match? Savio Vega and Miguel Perez. And why they couldn't have given them a decent run with a title against decent tag teams. There was other decent tag teams around then until you imagine the build up. If they'd had a nice long run with it when the New Age Outlaws came in,
Yeah.
how much better that would have been when the Outlaws took the title off of them rather than having the whole thing of the Godwins in slot matches and God knows what.
Right. Yeah. The tag team division in WWF at this point is in shambles, I would say. it's they got decent tag teams, they just don't know how to use them.
Yeah,
That's kind of been the MO for WWE tag team division for the last 20 fucking years.
There's one point where Miguel Perez hits like a second rope flipping senton and then a moonsault. That was cool.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing about Miguel Perez is he's the only guy that I've ever seen put a singlet on over a sweater. That dude was so fucking hairy.
Yeah.
He's like fucking Puerto Rican George the Animal Steel. Yeah, he is a hairy motherfucker.
He looked like
More
a
hair on
welcome
his
mat.
chest than he does on his hair, on his head. That's weird, you know.
This for most of it was serviceable, but why should I give a shit?
Yeah, and I felt like there was like a ridiculous amount of rest holds
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Lot of,
nerve
lot
holds.
of side
Like, how
headlock
many nerve
takeovers.
holds can we do in this
fucking
thing?
nerve holes.
Right, and unless you're like Andre the Giant or like a big fucking guy, your nerve hold doesn't make me believe anything's happening besides the guy sitting there while you're holding his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, it does nothing for me. So I don't know why nerve holds are a thing.
It's a deep tissue massage at that point.
Yeah, you're basically at the chiropractor at that point.
I mean, I suppose from maybe like a tag team purist point of view, they did Los Boricuas of isolating Thrasher. You know, they did build up to the hot tag quite nicely. That is something different, but it was still, no matter how technically good it was or how on paper that is the right thing to do, it was still just a bit dull.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing that you said of like, it's fine, but I don't care because one of these tag teams, they just came in and like, explain to me how they became the number 1 contender. Show me a video of them winning a match where they came. I've reviewed every Raw from '97. They ain't won shit.
All we've ever seen of Los Boricuas are mass brawls.
Yeah.
Savio Vega having a wrestling match that turned into a mass brawl. That has been the Boricuas so far. And now all of a sudden they've got a tag team that's the number 1 contenders. How's that happened?
Yeah, and I can't name any of the guys in the Los Boricuas. There's Savio Vega and the guy with all the hair. I don't know who the other guys are. No idea. I couldn't tell you what their names start with, what letter it is. I don't know.
They were made number one contenders on the power of Savio's chops and the decency of his spin kick.
I mean, yeah. Sounds about right to me, Dan. Sounds about right to me.
And then from this, I couldn't give a shit about match. We go a step down.
Yeah.
We do. But the JR interview with Bulldog.
Oh,
don't worry.
He was fucked.
Yeah, he was.
Don't worry,
He
we're gonna
was-
watch a little bit of that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so the Headbangers do end up winning the thing, and then they like go into the crowd to celebrate with the crowd. Did you see the one lady trying to give? She was like sucking on Mosh's neck. Did y'all see that?
Yeah,
No, I missed that.
She
She
was.
attacked him like he was a Christmas ham. He was all over that thing, pal. I think I was like, Mom should file assault charges after that, because good lord.
Imagine if their
Headbanger.
kids grow up wrestling fans and see that. Hey, Mum, isn't that you?
What a headline that is. Headbanger gets attacked by a rat.
Yeah. Headbanger
Moth-
attacked by
Moth knocked, by gosh.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? And then we're getting a little promo from the British Bulldog, and here's some parts of that strange promo.
Davey, how special is this homecoming going to be tonight, defending your European title in front of your countrymen?
It's going to be very special. I got my sister, who's sitting out in the crowd, who's battled with cancer twice. Once when she was a year old, and just a few months ago, she was in hospital in Christie's in Manchester, and didn't think she was going to pull through. They've taken almost everything out of it they can possibly take, and she pulled through it. And so to me, she's a champion in my eyes. So I'm dedicating this match tonight to my sister Tracy.
I understand you have other family members that'll be in attendance tonight as well.
Yeah, my mom is going to be there, my dad, my wife, my other sister, my brother Terrence, and my bodybuilding trainer, Walter O'Malley.
Have you ever been more ready? Is this going to be, as far as you're concerned, the biggest night of your career?
Yeah, I would say it's going to be the biggest night of my career, yeah. Defending my European belt. Especially when I walk out at the NEC Arena in front of 15,000 people and live on pay-per-view all over Europe. It's going to be one of the biggest events that I've ever stepped and walked out in front of.
And you're ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Good luck.
Thank you.
He's ready to go. Fucking
Yeah.
hell. We've all done that. We've all got that drunk where you sit there and you just you're having to lean to one side because you can't quite keep upright.
Yeah.
He's I think they had it right when they said he was geared up.
Well,
He was on something.
they were slimming tablets.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Walter had got him. We discussed this before, so this is not a secret. That I was
Right.
talking or anything. Walter had got him off the painkillers and steroids when he came back over here at the beginning of '97, and that is why when he was tagging with Owen, he looked as healthy and as clean as he'd done for years. There was a lot of political shenanigans going on behind the scenes with this, and a certain somebody who we won't mention anymore wanted him to lose weight to sell the idea that he was going to be, he wouldn't overwhelm Sean. So he went on a crash diet and took slimming tablets, and that is the consequence of that, plus with the alcohol as well.
Yeah, you can tell by his eyes. His eyes, you can tell that something's not right with him. Like, say, he's talking, he's operating, but it's not. His lights on, but his lights are on, but nobody's home. You can tell by his eyes.
3 months before this, David Boy Smith doing the same interview, when he was asked, "Is this your greatest moment ever?" He would have probably said, "No, Wembley '92 was."
Right.
But he has got.
It's a rough watch.
It is a rough watch.
Yeah, it made me a lot of this made me feel bad for him. A lot of the stuff that we're going to look at is going to make it just made me feel really bad for him. But yeah, Glenn's right. The house show matches keep rolling on as we get another throwaway match. Oh, Flash, you are so funky. Dan, do you ever want to get funky to Flash Funk's music ever?
No, never.
No?
At least of all when I watch this back.
He's taking.
Don't get me wrong,
Good.
Too Cold Scorpio is good. He's still going, which is amazing. But fucking hell. Flash Funk and the Patriot.
Yeah, he's battling the Patriot. I don't understand the booking of the show or this match because they're supposed to be. I realize that they hate the Patriot. Over here, when he comes out waving the American flag, they boo the living shit out of him. I'm American as fuck, and if you showed me him in 1997, I'd fucking boo him because he's boring.
I was going to say this has nothing to do with us Brits being anti-American. It's us Brits being anti-shit wrestling.
It's everybody being anti-Del Wilkes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They hated him. I mean, they hated him. The King makes a joke about maybe the fans are still mad about the Boston Tea Party, which I thought was funny. Yeah, they really booed the Patriot out of the building. Anything he did, anytime he hit a big move, they booed him. Anytime. He was the most hated guy on the show until the very end.
He was. But one thing about this match, who was supposed to be the heel? I know everybody was booing the Patriot. But in the match, there seemed to be changing whether Flash should be the heel or Patriot. It was just all over the place.
Yeah, I don't understand why this match. Like, there had to be someone else on the card that the Patriot could have faced. I'm not taking away from Flash Funk. As a matter of fact, you know what? Send the Patriot back to South Carolina. Let's find somebody else for Flash Funk to face. I'd rather see Flash Funk versus Leaf Cassidy than this. Legit.
I'd rather see Flash Funk versus Brian Christopher.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either one of those. Absolutely.
There was a sign in this match. Somebody took a sign with them that said, "I hate signs."
Oh, excellent.
Well, goddamn, pal. That's a great sign. Yeah, I don't know. This match was what it was. Eventually the Patriot gets the win with the Uncle Slam. The fans keep booing him. And I don't know. Anybody else got any notes that they wanted to mention on this one?
Nope.
It's a match that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It exists.
On the card. It was on the card. And now, folks, it's time to see some hog farmers. But before we do that, we get a promo from the LOD. And I, quite frankly, usually don't know what they're talking about. So let's all try to figure it out together.
As the World Wrestling Federation goes around this country on tour, tonight is the biggest event the UK is ever going to see. Right here in the UK, Birmingham, you're going down, Godwins. We don't forget easy. The buck in the back of the head, slump drop, slump thrown on us. You're going down. Doomsday device, payback is going to be you know what. Well, little birdie in the sky, let a whitewash right in my eye. But I'm a big boy, I don't cry. Geez, I'm dead, cows don't fly. But that's the only thing I'll be glad about when we get in the ring with you, Godwins. It's over. You don't like it, we don't care. What a rush.
He was a poet and he didn't know it.
A bird took a shit on him.
Yeah, I heard.
He didn't cry about it.
No.
Cows don't fly.
Nope.
And he's glad about that.
He fucking loves cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I took from that too. Yeah. It's
I'd still rather
like,
listen to
like a Dr. Seuss book and was like, oh, that's good.
I'd still rather listen to Hawk and Cody Rhodes cry about something.
Well, I mean, Hawk's pretty goddamn entertaining, even if I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
It's a skill.
So yeah, the Godwins versus the Legion of Doom. We've watched these guys wrestle a lot in England. I was hoping to never have to see it again, but here we are.
Yeah.
I didn't think this was bad though. The opening of it was pretty good. It was some big meaty men slapping meat, but it did start to slow down after a few minutes. Go ahead and tell me what you thought of this one.
It was an armbar fest. All they were doing was linking arms all the time.
They even said on commentary.
Until
Who
the
you
end,
wear
it
a
was-
armband? Where do you learn that?
Yeah.
He's like the Cole. It's like the Cole brothers for wrestling out here.
I'll give one thing credit on commentary as well. They made King made a joke about mad cow disease, and then that was a segue into talking about the amount of beef in the match.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good because I did mention medium men slapping meat, which was good for the first 3 minutes of this thing, but then it kind of fell apart. Again, this is another match that just sort of took place.
Yeah, I got to know. We go from a chin lock. Animals got Hog in a chin lock. He gets out. Hog gets out of it. Tags in Pig, who goes straight into an armbar.
Yeah, at least when the big fucker started moving, that was quite entertaining. You know, Animal is a fucking missile on that shoulder block at the start.
Oh yeah.
And Hawk clearing house, you know, that was entertaining enough. But it's weird. Godwins are definitely not fitting into this time in WWE. I know we're not quite into the Attitude Era yet, but LOD are weird. They managed to feel simultaneously out of sync with the WWF right there, but still about right for what WWF's transitioning to.
Yeah,
If that makes
Yeah.
sense. It's like the call between two worlds. And I know that, oh God, they're trying to do LOD 2000 later on, and that's a fucking disaster.
They try to bring Sonny in as their manager too. Yeah, and that's just like, well, that's probably not going to work. I remember
it was
I was like
upsetting.
15 when that happened. I remember going, that's weird. That's going to work.
Whoever looks at Heidenreich and said, "Yep, he'll do it." It's a
Scottish Danny did. The only Heidenreich fan I know, Scottish Danny, did look at that and think it was great.
There had to be one, right? LOD do eventually get the win here with the Doomsday device. They give it to Phineas because God knows Henry ain't taking that shit again after they broke his neck.
I did like it as well when they
That's
described.
okay, but I hope I never have to see them wrestle again, you know.
Yeah.
But I have a bad feeling that I'm probably going to
I
have.
think so, yeah, I think we will.
The next thing is an in-ring interview. It is JR. He's got Ken Shamrock out here. I guess Ken Shamrock is supposed to be taking on Owen Hart this evening, but due to some internal injuries, he will not be able to. So instead, Owen Hart will be facing Vader. They say he got hurt during a spine buster on Raw from Farouk. He says he would fight tonight if he could, but he's got a punctured lung. We'll be back soon. But then we get Glenn's favorite wrestler, Rockabilly. You're in luck, Glenn. I don't have his theme song right now, so I won't play it. You're lucky. Well, damn it. If I would have known Dan hated it so much, I would have definitely figured out how to put it on here. But I don't have it.
Fucking despise it.
I do as well.
So Rockabilly thinks this is a good time to come out here and try to confront Ken Shamrock. Doesn't work out. Kind of gets his ass whooped.
For stealing his steroids. He said,
Did he say that?
he said that.
Wow. That's interesting. So yeah, Rockabilly gets beat up by Ken Shamrock. That's basically what happens until some refs can come out here and
Yeah.
pull Shamrock off of him. So I think they just had to get Ken Shamrock on the show, and this was their way to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Wasn't a
Even
bad
though-
thing seeing Shamrock though. He was over at the time, wasn't he? Really? He was an
Oh,
absolute
yeah.
fucking unit as well.
Yeah, Ken Shamrock is one of those guys where you could
A
file.
very interesting haircut as well.
Wasn't the best.
Well, yeah, maybe he wasn't able to find a proper barber over in England. I'm not sure, but there was something up with the Ken's hair. We then hear from Bret Hart. He says that the wrestling in England is just like wrestling at home. He's going to fight fire with fire and prove that he's the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. You can kind of hear during this that he's getting kind of a mixed reaction from the crowd. Like, so there's some cheering, but there's some booing. And so they kind of ask him, like, does it matter to you if the fans, care about you tonight? And he says that they do. That it does. I just thought this was a really strange promo.
Yeah.
It felt like they were trying to catch Bret Hart out somehow, like make him misspeak or tried to lead him to something. It just didn't quite sync up, did it?
No, and maybe this is just me looking back as a conspiracy theorist, but I really felt like Vince was like demeaning Brett on commentary like as much as he could. Even during the Undertaker Brett match, I felt like he was running down Brett as much as he could. And maybe that's just me, but that's just kind of how I felt.
No, because we said that a few weeks ago as well when they were in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Coming across that Vince wasn't.
Yeah, because that's what you want to do. Really just give the shit to your champion.
Yeah. You really don't want to make him seem like he's credible at all because he's only the champion.
And he's only going up against a dude who's 6'10" and then possibly a zombie.
Yeah, dead guy. Who may or may not have killed his brother. We don't know yet.
I've got views on all of that when we get to that match.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. That was a really great match when we get to it. This is when the show starts to get really good. I felt Vader battles Owen Hart. Vader's kind of become a babyface over the last few weeks, fighting with the Harts and helping the Patriot. Owen gets a big reaction from the crowd. They might have been iffy on Brett. They were not iffy on Owen.
No, Owen got a huge pop.
As he should.
Absolutely. I imagine that's because Owen spent a lot of time wrestling over there when he was younger. So I imagine a lot of people remember that. And that's why he's getting a good reaction. And you British people seem to appreciate, especially back in this time, you guys appreciated more of the technical wrestlers, I think, than the American fans did. So that's probably why Owen was so over with you guys. I mean, you guys were raised on technical wrestling, right? I was raised on Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I wasn't raised on WWF.
That's a good point. Maybe Glenn was raised.
But you're getting it now, Dan. You're seeing the more technical stuff. And
big Bruno Erlington.
Big Bruno, yeah.
That's right,
the giant haystacks. That technical wizard.
All right, Dan. Did you agree with me that this was a pretty damn solid match?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, Vader's a guy who, around about this time when I was a kid, I didn't really think much of. He didn't grab me in any way. I wasn't really bothered about. But looking back on his body of work with a more sort of educated eye, he was fucking good. Yeah. Vader was so good. And you give him a dance partner like Owen, it's always going to be decent. But yeah, this was easily the best match on the card up to this point.
Well, apparently they're not long before had a real barn burner in Japan. So this was basically a rerun of that.
That's brilliant. I mean, they even did a spot in this where Owen goes for the crucifix. I think this was the first time we saw it in the show. But it happens twice. I think they tried it in the main event. But Vader and Owen did it so much better.
Yeah.
And it's crazy when you think of, one guy has like 250 pounds on another guy and they're still able to execute that with.
You must admit, though, it is the definition of optimism when we're about 2 minutes in, Owen tries to put a sharpshooter on Vader.
He kept trying to slam him, too. Like, he went for like 3 or 4 slams. He finally eventually does get him up and slam him. But, yeah, he kept going for the slam, which I found to be interesting.
Did you see Vader go to the Boston Crab as well?
Oh, God, yeah, he did he cinched that in, didn't he?
Did not expect to see Vader submission wrestling.
No.
No, that's not something you're prepared for. Vader's like the last guy you want wrenching in a fucking Boston Crab on you.
You talk about visiting the chiropractor.
Yeah, no shit. You're really gonna need a nerve hold after that, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so lots of good stuff in this match. Owen Hart hits a Hurricane Rana on Vader, and he kind of like lands on his head, and they make a joke of like, I don't even think Vader knows he's on his feet, which I thought was funny.
I laughed at that.
Yeah, he didn't even know he was on his feet. Vader hits a splash from the second rope, but Owen's able to kick out, which got a huge pop from the crowd. Throughout much of the match, it was really like Vader was the heel and Owen was the babyface because Vader was really punishing Owen, and then Owen had to like make a comeback. So they did a really good job of kind of like switching roles because of the way the crowd was reacting. So I thought that was great. Owen was able to get out of a power bomb, and then he hit a beautiful enziguri attempt on Vader. I was really shocked by the finish because I figured that Owen was going to win this match, but Vader wins it after catching Owen with a power slam off the top rope. But yeah, definitely up until this point, this was by far the best match on the card, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. It was just when you say about them transitioning into Vader being the heel and Owen being the face, the crowd were behind Owen anyway, but it's so difficult to have the smaller guy be the heel. Unless he's a real chicken shit. And Vader just naturally, when he's throwing those giant haymakers and headbutts and all of that, I think they managed to work it into such a way that they got the result they wanted. So moving forward, the story's still intact, but still put on an absolute banger.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
It would have worked in America with Vader being the baby face and I'm being the heel, because that's a story they've been telling about the Hearts all over. They're the heels.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point with the Hearts.
Vader added to his heelness with the British crowd by siding with bloody Dale Wilkes.
Oh, yeah, they already hated him anyway, so.
Well, as they keep telling us, Britain is bizarro world.
Yeah.
I guess, King. For something that's bizarro world, he was sure trying to throw out a lot of British slang, wasn't he?
He was.
You know what's bizarro world? The South. The South of the United States. That's bizarro world. If you want to talk about bizarre. So then we get, it's the WWF title match, Bret Hart versus The Undertaker. I found it funny that if you lived in the United States, you couldn't get this on pay-per-view. You had to buy the cassette tape, and it did not include this match. They cut this match from it.
That's weird.
I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Before this match, we get a promo from The Undertaker, which is pretty good. So let's hear it.
One night only. You have one night to prove to all the world you deserve to be World Wrestling Federation champion. For you see, Bret, Shawn Michaels won't be the special referee. What's that mean? It means that you have to look into the eyes of the Reaper and deal with me one-on-one. There's not going to be someone lurking in the shadows waiting to hit me in the head with a chair. And although you may have all these fans across the world convinced that you're their savior, but you're nothing more than a demon, and I will expose you as that demon tonight. The Undertaker recognizes no boundaries, only creatures, for which you are not. So what this means, Bret Hart, is when this faithful night ends, and you're looking up at the Reaper, prepare to rest in peace.
Sorry, guys. I know we're talking about wrestling, but I'm just looking up the football scores. Luton and Newcastle are tied at fucking 4 right now. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Newcastle 2-0 up as well.
They were up 2-0, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Burnley have just equalised against Fulham as well. That's 2-2.
Yeah, and our buddy Andy from the Bang Bang will be happy because Brighton's up 4-1 on Crystal Palace. So, no, he's Bristol City that he likes. Like,
yeah, he's Bristol City. They lost 1-0 to Leeds last night.
My bad. I got the wrong L team.
You got 3 of the letters correct.
There we go. I mean, I'm doing my best. This is my first real season as a British soccer fan. So, anyway, so back to the wrestling. I've always heard that this was a classic match between Bret Hart and The Undertaker. They've had a lot of them. So I was pretty excited to watch this one, and I was definitely not disappointed. It's kind of a toss-up between what was the match of the night between this one and the main event, but I would probably give the nod to this one. This was really good. What did you think, Glenn?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It is nice to see The Undertaker being used in a decent match.
Besides, obviously, the ones he's had with Shawn Michaels, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But the best of those are still to come, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, because, I mean, he's only had one with Shawn Michaels thus far, so. And a lot of this time, besides, like, Mankind, I feel like The Undertaker gets thrown together with a lot of stiffs, usually.
Yeah, that's right.
He's got to make the proverbial chicken salad out of chicken shit a lot of the time. So The Undertaker was way over with the fans in England. They were like iffy on Bret Hart. I thought Bret got a pretty big pop when he first came out, but they were kind of 50-50. But they love The Undertaker, and I mean, there's not a place The Undertaker isn't over, so that makes sense.
Until later in the match, where they were ready to riot on him.
Yeah, I really like this match. Obviously, I'm a massive Bret Hart guy, so I'm always going to give the nod to Bret over Shaw. But this was brilliant. You say about the mixed reaction. There were definitely some hyenas in the crowd who didn't like Bret.
There were definitely hyenas out there that did not like.
I love the shithousing early on with Bret just taking the pad off the turnbuckle as the ref's distracted, and it just solidified to me that no one hits the corner like Bret Hart.
That's right.
Yeah,
everything sounded like it hurt.
That was a bit weird, though. It was like placing the gun there, but never ever pulling the trigger. With a...
Yeah, that's true because nobody ever really used it, did they?
Oh.
Yeah, Bret went sternum first into it.
Oh, that was it.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
And that was the whole thing. This is also the only match I've ever seen where somebody works over somebody's chest.
Oh, that's right, because that led to the heart punch, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. It makes more sense to me why I used the heart punch because I don't ever remember seeing The Undertaker use a heart punch. This is like the first time. I think he would use it on later when he became like the best striker in the WWE or whatever, but I don't remember him using the heart punch a lot.
Yeah.
So that was Crush's thing.
I loved it as well when Taker does his whole, landing on his feet on the floor after being clotheslined over the top. And then in my head, I'm thinking, Bret's not going to hit a fucking tope because that's just what modern wrestling has done to me. But no, Bret goes for the baseball slides. None of that tope here. And
tope shit here.
And he gets caught doing the axe handle off the apron, and Undertaker starts working over his back as well, ramming him into the rope. It was awesome. And then I saw a couple of great signs while they were doing this. Someone had "We Want ECW" on Sky.
Yeah.
And another one just said, "Die, Bischoff, die."
I have that one in my notes. I said, I can see a sign that says "Die, Bischoff, die," which I thought was pretty aggressive.
It just made me think of The Simpsons, though. That episode where Sideshow Bob gets out, and they say, "Don't you have a tattoo that says Die, Bart, die?" He says, "No, it's German for the Bart, the."
Yeah. I mean, I thought the pacing of this match was phenomenal. Like they get in there, they start off hot, but then they start to slow it down, and then it really picked back up at the end. I mean, they went 28 minutes, and it didn't feel like 28 minutes to me. I don't know about you guys.
No, it didn't.
Not at all. Felt about 15.
Yeah, I would definitely. Also, there was a sign that I saw in the crowd. This, if I was on the UTT podcast and I had to give out sign of the week, this would win my sign of the week. It said, "Ted Turner blows Hogan."
Yes, yeah, I saw that as well. Did you guys see at one point? It was a sort of an error in directing. Bret was grabbed the figure 4, and Mike Chioda jumps over to get a better look, and we just get a full 3-second shot of Chioda's ass.
Kevin Dunn must have missed that camera cut, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then Taker was in that hole for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that Bret came up with a counter to the old school by just falling up. Undertaker's got his arm, he's up on the top rope, so Bret just falls backwards and drags him off.
Yeah.
How more people you do that?
Bret Hart is so fucking good. Like he's just, man. I don't think I've ever watched a Bret Hart match. Maybe one. There's one Bret Hart match that I watched that I thought was boring. It was his WrestleMania 11 submission match with Bob Backlund, which isn't good. Don't go watch it if you've never seen it. And I blame that mostly on Roddy Piper because he keeps shoving the microphone in everybody's face, asking if they've quit. It's just like, that's what the whole match sounds like.
Even Bret hates that match, though.
Yeah. In Bret's book, he said that that's his worst match ever. So. I also found it funny that they take the turnbuckle off and within the first 2 minutes, the pad off, and then the pad somehow manages to stay laying in the same spot in the ring for almost the entire match. That's pretty fucking impressive.
It is, but not as impressive as did you guys see how Bret got the sharpshooter on for the first time? So Taker was doing the thing where he's got Bret's legs splayed up, and it's the leg drop to the lower abdominal region, which is just a calf to the nuts.
Yeah.
On the second one of those, Bret just grabs hold of the leg, rolls over, and he's in the sharpshooter. It's just so fucking good.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was that, and the counter of the old school were two of the best counters in this thing. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen the sharpshooter applied like that. It's just phenomenal.
He did something similar, I think, at King of the Ring 1991. I think it was against Bam Bam. Or Razor, he may have done something similar.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's 93.
Or 93.
Yeah, I think it's 93. Yeah. Because it was the one where Hogan lost to Yokozuna because the guy had the flash of the camera. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. Bret Hart eventually gets his like head caught in the top rope. It's like hanging there, and Mike Chioda keeps trying to get him out, but the Undertaker won't let him. And so finally, the referee calls for the bell. The Undertaker responds to that by choke slamming the referee. Eventually, they get Owen Hart and Gerald Briscoe down here to get Bret out. Bret then grabs Gerald Briscoe, pulls him in the ring, choke slams him too. So even though this match ends in a DQ, I have no complaints.
Did you see how good a job Undertaker did of stopping Briscoe from landing on his head?
Yeah.
Briscoe jumped up, flung his feet into the air. That he was going to rotate.
Yeah.
But Undertaker had to power him down.
Yeah. Straighten him out.
Yeah, that was insane. But yeah, it's normally I'm not a fan of like a DQ finish like this, but in the context of the match and how good it was, I'm fine with it.
I don't know if they're trying to protect with that finish though.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know either.
The thing is, Undertaker's been complaining about Michaels getting involved, and Bret can't do it on his own, and there's always something. If this goes on to be like, you got lucky, and it's always something with you, you could have got out, and all that, it gives Taker a reason to go to demand another shot.
Yeah, you think though, if they'd actually, especially with them going down the road then of the whole Kane thing. They must have had that in their mind by then. If they'd actually just put the title back on Taker here, it would have saved the whole landscape of wrestling would have changed because there would have been no Montreal screw job.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
If they'd have just trusted Kane to main event, the wrestling world would be a better place.
Oh yeah.
There you go. It was funny too because the ring announcer then announces, here is your winner by disqualification, still World Wrestling Federation champion Bret Hart. So Undertaker starts to go after the ring announcer, and the ring announcer is the smartest man on this show because he just ran.
Yeah, and he got out of there. He hurdled that barrier himself.
Carsten Schaefer, the smartest man in the building.
Yeah, it was like Carl Lewis out there. So then it's the main event of the evening. Shawn Michaels battling the British Bulldog for the European Championship. And first we get a little promo from Shawn Michaels, and let's hear what this jackass has to say.
And now you get the main event. The headliner himself, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, is going to walk out there tonight and become the first Grand Slam winner in the World Wrestling Federation. The first man to hold the WWF title, the Intercontinental title, the WWF Tag titles, and tonight I will walk out with the European title. Thus,
can you top this, Shawn Michaels?
Can I top this?
Yeah.
My middle name is Top This. I got news for you. You can send out anybody you want, but you haven't seen the showstopper until the Heartbreak Kid enters the ring. And you're about to get it live and in living color. HBK is on his way.
He's such an asshole.
Yeah, he really is.
What's he doing with his mouth? What's going on with one corner of his mouth? Just like talking out one side of his face.
It was really weird.
Oh,
he looked like JR, but without the palsy. I don't know if that's fucked up to say, but I said it.
He's got his bell end palsy.
Yeah, and I thought Vince threw a little subtle shot there. He said, "Can you top this? Like, can you top Bret Hart's match?" I feel like he even threw a little subtle shot there at Bret Hart a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe.
And then Shawn Michaels comes to the side of the ring and decides to be a paedophile, kissing underage girls.
Yeah, and did you see the kid had the British Bulldog figure and he was sticking it right in Shawn Michaels' face, and then Shawn Michaels picked it up and it looked like he was going to drop it in his pants. I think he dropped it on the ground, but it looked like he was going to drop it inside of his pants, and I'm like, don't do that.
No.
It's a kid. This is a one strong kid though, because Shawn Michaels, like he grabbed Shawn Michaels' arm, was like pulling Shawn Michaels back. That kid wasn't fucking around. I have a feeling that if they got into a shoot fight, that kid kicked Shawn Michaels' ass.
Yeah.
He's as strong as 10 Marines in Sacramento. Lose your smile, you fucker. You're getting beat up by a kid from Birmingham.
Yeah.
A 12-year-old from Birmingham. Bulldog makes his way down to the ring. He's got his sister Tracy with him, who's been battling cancer for much of her life, and Bulldog has dedicated the match to her.
Yeah, why not? I guess he's going to have to do a job to Shawn Michaels. Dedicate.
I've got a word in my notes that I won't say on this show, but it's Sean U. Burke for insisting you go over.
Yeah, especially with this. And we got a big Bulldog chant from the fans before the match gets started. I will say that Shawn Michaels was a bumping machine in the open moments of this match. Bulldog was throwing him all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
As he should.
And threw a tantrum as well.
Yeah. It was good, though. At the start of this match, the crowd was so into it, they didn't even have to do anything. They just stood there at points, just letting the crowd cheer.
That's right.
It was absolutely electric.
Yeah, it definitely was. I liked when Bulldog presses Shawn Michaels over his head, and he's trying to launch him out of every side of the ring. But every time he gets there, Earl Hebner gets in his way and won't let him do it. And so I knew Glenn was like that, because Glenn's always wondering why Bulldog isn't just chucking people out of the ring once he picks them up. So
only in Royal Rumbles.
Yeah, you're right. Only in the Royal Rumble. You're right. Dan, tell me some of your thoughts about this one.
Sorry, go on, Glenn. I thought it said Dan.
Either way.
I quite like this. They gave so much to the Bulldog early on. It's a shame it worked out the way it did. There was a thing where Shawn's out on the apron. The Bulldog gets hold of him, takes him to one turnbuckle and hits him with it, then takes him to the other side and hits him with it, and then pulls him back into the ring. That's something to dominate it. So it baffles me why they actually came. Well, I know why they came up with the idea. It's just so disappointing that with such a good match, they came up with such a crappy ending. And that basically sums this show up, really.
Yeah.
It does. It's just, there was a lot of good in this. Excuse me. Again, Shawn and Bulldog are so good, it's never going to be bad. Like, actually in the ropes. I think at one point, he reverse suplexes Shawn in. And he drags him backwards over the ropes and gives the big sort of just before the military presses. And things like that are so good, but then the shenanigans start. And it just makes you feel so sad by the end of this. Because you've got Bulldog's poor sister there, who, I'll be honest, looks like she doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't.
And they've just sort of trotted her out. And
yeah, they're using a poor girl that's quite ill as just a part of the storyline.
Yeah, it's exploitative.
It is.
That's what. Then they don't even have the good decency to give Bulldog the win, and to give that moment. The sensible thing, if you don't have Shawn Michaels in your ear, is to have the feel good moment.
Yeah.
And he didn't even Bulldog didn't even have to pin Shawn. He could have won by DQ. He could have ended in a smudge, and people still would have went home happy. You know what I mean?
You could have had Rick Rude, Triple H, China. Where the fuck was Owen? And where the fuck were Owen and Brett?
Yeah,
they could see this was going on. How long of a shower was Owen taking after being beat by Vader?
Well, Vader is quite stinky, so it takes a while to wash that stank off. But still, he was out there to save Brett. He came out there to save Brett when he was hanging, but they couldn't come out here to do anything for the fucking Bulldog. They couldn't be bothered. I guess they were doing autograph signings. They were talking on the WWF hotline. Brett was having sunny days. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's a real thing. So other than that, this is a good match.
It is. It's probably Bulldog's last really good match as well. And it's just the way it ended.
That is
the only next match that's sort of memorable from Bulldog is the Armageddon Hell in a Cell.
Mm. Yeah.
He doesn't actually do anything memorable in that. It's just the fact that one, he was in there because it was a surprise, and then everybody only remembers Rikishi going up into the flatbed.
Yeah.
Like I had forgotten all about his like return and like Bulldog and Jeans run. I forgot about that whole entire run until I got like a lot older and I watched the 2000 Royal Rumble. I was like, the Bulldog and Jeans? What was he doing here? But I guess it's a thing.
Hardcore Bulldog.
So, if you look at it on the surface, like if this isn't in Bulldog's hometown, his sister isn't there, his whole family, the finish of it isn't a bad way to go because you're getting some heat. But I just feel like with the way they built this up and the way, Bulldog dedicated this to a sister who's been battling cancer, it just wasn't the right thing to do, at least in my personal
opinion. Makes reading some of the stuff about this, it makes it seem more and more like the screw job was planned for quite a while. Because this seems like this is the start of getting all the belts off the other Hearts before what happens in Montreal, because they knew at that point that they'd all walk.
Yeah, and I think by this point, Vince has basically told Brett that he can't honor his contract that he signed in 1996, and if he wants to go to WCW, he can. So I think the writing on the wall there is that Brett's going to be gone. Yeah. So I think that absolutely had to play a lot into this, and of course, the politics of Shawn Michaels.
The whole thing was unfortunately political.
Yeah, and Bulldog got caught up in the middle of it.
Yeah, and it spoiled what was a very good match.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the right finish in this, you are looking at an all-timer. You're looking at an all-time great moment, happening for Bulldog in his home country again, to go along with SummerSlam '92.
Right.
You've got this. You've got Owen versus Vader, great match. You've got Brett versus Taker. So you've gone from house show to proper pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And they absolutely fucked it.
Yeah, and the fact that this wasn't, you couldn't get this in America. Like you had to buy the tape that comes out 6 months later. So there's no reason why Shawn Michaels has to win this match at all. You're doing it for the fucking viewers in the UK, and they want the Bulldog to win. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
It's really strange.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, there's a load of interference from their DX, but they're not DX yet. Rude gets out there. He rams Bulldog's back into the ring apron. He runs it into the ring post. At one point, they're on the outside of the ring. Bulldog picks up Michaels for a power slam, but he kind of slips off the platform that they've got the ring on, and so he really hurts his knee. And then Triple H and Rude kind of slam the barricade on his knee to hurt it even more. They throw him back in the ring. Shawn Michaels puts a figure four on him. They're, of course, helping him with leverage in the back. Bulldog tries as much as he can to fight. He even almost turns it over at one point, but Rude just punches him in the face, and that goes right back to him being in it. And eventually, he just passes out from the pain. Shawn Michaels wins. He is now the first ever Grand Slam champion because he's the first one to ever win all 4 titles. And people are pissed. It's like NWO 1996 out here.
Yeah.
Grand Slam jackass. I will say though, if that was planned with Bulldog's foot going off the platform and hurting his knee, then it's very, very good. If it's not planned, holy shit, I bet that hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after the match, they get on the microphone and they start running down the Hearts. They talk trash to Diana. They take off Bulldog's knee brace and they throw it at her, which I thought was really bad. They really did not need to do that. Finally, the other Hearts come down to finally save Bulldog after he's been getting his ass beat for 25 minutes by 3 people. After they get off their asses to come help him.
After Diana had got in there and started strangling Shawn with Bulldog's knee brace.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Diana had to it was the first Hart to grow a set of balls and get in there and try to fucking help the British Bulldog.
Well, she always has been the Hart with the biggest balls.
Yeah, there you go, pal. So, yeah, the pay-per-view goes off the air with Shawn and Hunter celebrating as people are littering them with garbage. They were throwing beer bottles, beer cans, water bottles. Anything wasn't nailed down was getting thrown at Shawn and Hunter.
Yeah, you don't. Fancy doing it in the last match. You know that you're going to get all people throwing all their rubbish at them. Because people don't want to take it home.
You just leave it on the floor anyway for the arena staff to pick up, right?
Yeah, so just chuck it in the ring. You say that's a better idea.
There you go. It'll be easier for them then. It'll be all in one synchronized area. They won't have to get a big broom out. Yeah, you're doing them a favor at that point.
Us Brits are nothing if not practical.
Right. You guys are not about winning.
I'm just surprised nobody set something. There must have been somebody in that crowd with a lighter. I'm just surprised nobody set something on fire and just launched it in the ring.
Yeah. Probably couldn't find anything to burn.
A flying flaming roll of toilet paper flying at Shawn Michaels' head in the NEC arena.
I have seen a roll of toilet paper thrown at somebody during a wrestling show. It was at a Progress show, and Zach Gibson got a thing of toilet roll right in his head.
Yes.
If I would want to throw toilet roll at a bog roll at any man, it would be Zach Gibson. So that makes
we went through a phase at North as well when I don't know how it ended up happening, but somebody threw a toilet roll at a guy called Shreddy. He's legit award-winning bodybuilder, really good wrestler. Yeah. And then the very next show, because he complained about it, everybody brought toilet paper and just TP'd the whole ring while he was in it.
Talking about Zach, when they first started doing the shoes off.
Yeah.
Some guy got overexcited and chucked his shoe at him. Zach's got it. Zach's got you want this back? He's go, yeah, whack off. They walked out with one shoe and walked off.
I would have took it with me too. Fuck that. It's my shoe now, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Have fun getting home with one shoe.
Yeah.
Well, that is it. That is WF One Night Only. We want to thank our guest, Dan, for joining us. Dan, before we get you out of here, where can people follow you? Where can they listen to your shit? Give us all the news.
Thanks for having me, gents. I'm over on that Twitter X Twix thing at DanGriffin21. Just tweeting all kinds of random bollocks, to be honest. Sometimes about wrestling, sometimes about Doctor Who. Speaking of Doctor Who, every week you hear it, I'm on
the Doctor Who podcast with Danny Inside.
There we go. That's over on SJP World Media. Also on there, I do the volley with the magnificent Matt Lewis and Connor from Connor Knows Footy, where we do alternate commentaries for Premier League games. And the main project is Unbooking the Territory, which Glenn plugs every week. Thank you very much, good sir. Where we look at the first and last of wrestling and all the side projects. Unbooking the Tankatory, which you hear about every week. Unstacking Dadatory, which you hear about every week. Unputting the Territory, yada, yada, yada. You don't need me to go into any more details.
There you go. Give a Dan a listen and a follow on all those things. What about you, Glenn? Some of your plugs are gone. You don't have to do half of them.
DDG Wrestling with DC and Doc. And if you enjoy listening to War Into Attitude, the Nitrogen podcast. They're also in 1997 at the moment, covering Nitros. They're still in January, so they're a little bit behind us. But if you want to find out what was going on at the other on the other channel where we were watching Raw, give them a follow.
Yeah, check that show out. Maybe if you maybe you haven't listened to War Into Attitude yet, or you could go back and you could start over and you can have your own Monday Night War right there in your living room while you listen to the podcast. While we're not at war with them, I don't think. Glenn, message them and see if they want to start a war.
Yeah, just really.
Just kidding. And of course, make sure you check out SportsWire Radio. Give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow and check out the website sportswireradio.org. That's sports with a Z, wireradio.org. And give the other member of our podcast team, the mayor of Canton, a follow on the Twitter X. He does a meal with the mayor every Wednesday where he tries a different fast food. Some weeks it's really good, and some weeks he doesn't get what he wants, and he's really sad and depressed and angry. And those are my favorite ones because I like it when the mayor's angry. And check out all the other projects we got going on. We got part 2 of the Uncensored 2000 watch along coming here. Well, it'll be out now. You'll be able to listen to that. If you've listened to this, you've already listened to that. So check it out if you haven't already. And of course, the Live in Times of Psycho Sid. Episode 21 is out right now. Episode 22 will be out later this week, where we will look at War Games 1993 and the debut of the Shockmaster. That should be fun. Be on the lookout for that. And that's it. I don't have anything else to plug. The only thing left to do is for Glenn to say goodbye.
Goodbye.